Hey, my friends. It's Jennifer from the patio. Welcome this morning. It is Wanderlust Wednesday, where your journal travels with you. And I have a special freebie for you today. 27 pages of an amazing staycation. Yes, you heard me. You know what? Not everybody can go on vacation. And some years we go and some we don't. And so there is no reason why you can't stay home and do some awesome and amazing things and then journal about them. I do it all the time. So, anyway, so my kit that I'm giving out for a freebie, but it's only for a short time that it's going to be free. It's only during the Wanderlust Wednesdays, which is during the summer. After that, I'm going to put it back in my Ko-fi shop and it'll, you'll have to pay for it. So it's just for a limited time. But for those of you that watch me faithfully and regularly, it's free for you. It's a 27-page kit. Like I said, excuse me, like I said, it is a staycation because not all of us can go on vacation. Excuse me. And so I came up with, I believe, 10 or 12 different places for you to go in your community, in your city, in your area. And then I also did some prompts. So there'll be prompts, and I made pockets and tags and some different things. So I'm going to show you what the kit looks like, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to put it in. It is going to be a file folder, folio, and we're going to do tab binding. So there's no sewing. It's all going to be tab binding. And I love those kind. I would have showed you an example, but I sold them all at my craft show. So I apologize for that. I don't have any. But I'm going to show you how we do it. So anyway, this is my kit. And it's made with sepia and like some dusty blues and some sage greens. And creams. And I just think it's lovely. So anyway. So the first page is you're going to go to a local park, have a picnic, maybe go to a public library and take a little visit. That's one of my favorite things to do. Botanical garden stroll, hike a local trail. It doesn't have to be a big one. It could just be, there's a neighborhood that has like a really cool trail around where we live. And you just, go hike a trail, local trail. Historical downtown stroll. Everybody has an historical downtown in their city. Just go for a stroll. Check it out. See what's going on. A farmer's market. We have 2 in our area that are about, one is really close, maybe about 12 miles, and the other one is a little bit further. Probably it's about 22 miles maybe a little bit, 27 miles. But we love to frequent there and see what they have. They have like an Oktoberfest and just different things. So we like to go to farmers markets. There's probably more that I don't know about if I looked it up, because I know that there's one like north of us that I hear people talk about. How about a sunset at an overlook? Here where I live, we have what we call the levee, and it is an embankment that's been built up, and we can drive on it. It's, we call it Skyline Drive, but it's a levee, and it keeps the Gulf of Mexico from coming in to our city during storms and different things, hurricanes. And so it's an overlook. I go up there and walk. There's a hiking trail and all kinds of things, but it's fun to go up there and watch the sunset. And I know a lot of people that do that, but how fun is that? So find an overlook in your city. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm going to pause it okay, I'm through with my fit. Kind of got it out of my system. Okay, so then how about a free museum or a gallery? We do have a free museum in our city because we were involved in 1947 disaster. We had a ship that came into harbor, and it had some explosive material on it, and it blew up. And so you probably have heard about it, the 1947 Texas City disaster. And my grandfather was the fire chief, and he died on that ship. But anyway, we have a museum with all the photos and different things. So it doesn't have to be a happy museum. It can be because it, but it is historical, and I love, but it is nice to go. But we also have other galleries and different things that you can peruse and, see people's artwork. There's a restaurant in Galveston that frequents local artists, and I love that. And they'll change them out periodically. And so, it's just, something fun to do. So I put that in there. These are all things that I do, and so that's why I put them in here. So how about going to your local beach, or maybe a riverbank walk? Maybe you don't live by the beach. Maybe you don't live by the water, but you maybe have a creek or a riverbank or something like that local, and just take a walk. And, and I'll have prompts for each one of these so that you can just be reflective. And anyway, it'll be fun. So the next thing is my favorite thing to do literally every morning when I get up is to fix a cup of coffee and to go out on my back porch and to just gaze and be thankful for just life and whatever. But I have lots of trees in the back, and I have flowers, and I have crepe myrtles, and I have lots of squirrels and cardinals and blue jays and mockingbirds, and we have hawks and all kinds of things that are, here. And I live in the city, but we're just blessed to have all that. And I have a bird bath in the back. And so just, go on your back porch, and, that's my sanctuary. And so, and then just see what you see, and not everybody has that, but you still have other things. You probably might have things that I don't, especially if you live, north or northwest. So, how about a view from a window, just looking out? Like right now, I'm looking out at my lavender crepe myrtle that's right beside my window, and it's blowing in the breeze, and it's beautiful. And I see the peak of a blue sky in the background, and there's some blue jays that have a nest in there, and so I can see them flying around periodically. So, a view from a window. And how about a cozy coffee shop? Just visit a cozy, and it doesn't have to be Starbucks, but if that's all you have and you don't have like a cozy one, in Galveston, there's one called Maud's Coffee Shop. And I love to go with my girlfriends and my family, and we sit outside, and they have this big arbor. Well, it's actually an overhang over all the sitting area outside, and it's covered in honeysuckle. And it is beautiful. And if I remember, I'll put a picture in just to show you. So I thought, go sit at a cozy coffee shop and, people watch and, listen to conversations and just different things. So that's the last one. Okay, so those are the prompts, and I think there was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's 12 of them. Okay, so there's 12 different places that we can go on our staycation and that we are going to go. So, and then I gave you some pockets that are plain because I love plain and we love to add to it. So there's 4, and then I did some different variations of the green. That's 8. Did some more like a brownish green and then another blue color. That's 12. And then I did a darker one and then another blue color. So that is 16, which is more than the 12, but that's fun. Okay, I also gave you these are 2 script writings that are kind of 50% transparent. And each of these paragraphs goes with the 12 staycations. So you'll have to read them to know which ones go. And you'll know because it's, the way they're written is specific to whatever it is. This one is transparent. I think I did like 28 or 32, but the ones in the kit are 50 because I needed them to be a little bit darker. And the reason is because you can, and I'm going to show you how to print on vellum because my printer is an EcoTank 3850 and it does not print vellum. But you got to trick it. And so what you do is you attach your vellum to a sheet of paper with some, sticky tape or whatever so that you can pull it off. But look how pretty that would be, just in the back. Like you tear it out and then you put it on here and you can still read it. And then I also thought, even if you cut it out and you stuck it on the page, and I think that would be pretty too. So either one, I don't know, I'm going to play around with mine as well and see what I want to do. So, so anyway, you get 2 of those. And then you get some labels, and these are just, you know, labels that have to do with all the staycations. And so you get those. And then I gave you, I think it's 16 or 18 tabs or tags. And each of these is just has some pretty florals, or really it's more greenery. And then I did script in the back because I love script, and I just think it adds to it. And then I went ahead and printed on the back just I gave you 3 backgrounds, and so I printed on the back so that when we cut our tags out, they'll have the backing. So there's one, and I did them in the blue, so it's a dusty blue, but also just a different, just kind of some blues. Like this is different than that because it's a lighter version. And then I have a little bit darker. And like this one is a little bit darker. But see, I started doing the light so that it would match the sky. So I did this color. So anyway, and then, so you have that one. You have that one. You have this. I love the sepia and the cream, so I put some of those in. I even did some like orangey ones, but kind of like this where it's more aged look. So I did that in the background, so I love that. And then I did, and I love the subtleness of that, but I just love the blues and all that. So anyway, and then I did an orangey one. This I think is probably my favorite. I love this one. So anyway, I did that, and then here's kind of the bluish seafoamy green or whatever, and then that one. So then, and then on the back of these, I printed this paper, and I just love that. Okay, so these are the prompt tags, and so what you'll do is you'll cut these out, and then each one of them goes with the staycation for, your staycation time. And these are the prompts. And so you can write the answers on the back of the tags. That's why I did it the way I did. So there's these, and then this one, and I printed on the back the same color as this. So this is just this. It's a cream color. And then I gave you just some round, because I love words and all of that good stuff. So I did some round tags and kind of that, pretty blue. And these all match each staycation. So you'll put one of these with each of the staycations. A means to decorate or whatever. I went ahead and backed it with the pretty blue just so, you would have a backing. Okay, and then these are the colors for the backgrounds. You get this pretty brownish green. It's really a yellow green. I don't know why, I just love that color. And then I did this. You think it's white, but it's not. It's cream. So I did cream, and then I gave you this pretty blue. So for a short time for our Wanderlust, it'll probably go through the month of August. You'll get this free, and then after that, I'm going to charge. So you can make this kit along with me, and then after that, it'll be, it'll be in my Ko-fi shop for a fee. Okay, so that is our kit. And so what we're going to put it on or in is a tab-bound journal. So I already cut and, rounded the edges and did all of my spackling to it, but I'm going to show you how I did this. But I'm doing 7, and I like an odd number, and the reason is because when you do tab binding, if you've never done it before, of course, I'm about to show you, but I like uneven numbers because, and I'll explain that to you. But anyway, so I have 7, and each of these is, file folder. I did it to where the tab was on the right or the left. So when I folded it, you're going to get a tab, and then you get the other side that is, it goes like this. Or whatever, So, but you cut them out however you want. but this is how I wanted mine to look. I wanted this to be in the front, and then I wanted a low one, and then a tall one, and then a low one, and then a tall one. Bubba, shh. And then a low one, and then a tall one. So, so let me tell you the measurements so that you can go ahead and cut those out and get yourself ready, because this procedure, it took me, you know, a little bit of time this morning. So, so this is, and it's not going to be exact because it's just not, but it's about 11. So there, it's going to be 11 by, and I'm going to go with the taller of it because it's 8. So it's 11 by 8 with the tallest point. So that one's 11 by 8, and then this tall point is 8, even though it has the dip. So it's 11 by 8, and you need 7 of these, okay? So let me show you the technique. I kind of wanted, this is going to be more of a rougher one, so I'm going to kind of rough this up a little bit. Even though I love this look, I'm going to, you know, really distress the edges and stuff for this. And so when you open it, this will be on one page. The pocket and the tag will be on the other page with the insert of the prompts. And so it'll be every other one. So then when you turn it, I'm going to have one of the pictures over here and then this. And so, so anyway, but you'll need to get these together before you actually start, you know, putting all the kit and the pages together. So let me show you my technique for doing this. So what you need to do is just get your file folder. And this is just an example because I've already, like you see, I've already finished this because I'm going to show you how to bind it this morning. Okay, so what I do is I get my colors out. So I pulled out 2 blues that complement the blues in my kit. And then I also have my archival ink, which is the Ranger brand, and then it's coffee. Stampin' Up, this one, it's bordering blue, and then I also did the soft sky, which just is that seafoamy green color, and I love that. So I have that, and then I also am going to use Distress Ink, and so I'm only going to do one to show you the technique that I do. It's not difficult or anything, but, you know, you might want to know how I do this. So let me get my, and I know there's going to be a little bit of a glare for just a minute, but this is what I use to do my inking. Okay, so first thing I do is I use my Distress Ink, and I get a brush, and I just go around. I don't have any rhyme or reason. I just, you know, I just go around on the piece of paper. That's all I do. Start from the edge, go in, and that's it. And then I turn it over. I don't think about it. I just do. I literally just, you know, kind of, and, but when we're going to do 3 colors, so it just takes a little bit of time whenever, you know, we're doing this. That's why I didn't want to do it on camera. Okay, so I have the brown, so put that up. Put that over there, and then I get my blues out, and always get ink on my. I had blue all over my hands this morning. Okay, so then this one I do the same thing. I just, and where I know that it's gonna, you know, turn like this one, I wanted to have a little bit more blue on the top, and so I concentrated on, you know, coming in from the edge and just, isn't that pretty, that blue? And you're not going to see, you know, it's going to be covered with some of the paper, but I want it to look, you know, cohesive. So, and because I just didn't want to do just the outside and then not get the middle, so that if I have my pocket here and tab, you're still going to see, and then you'll take the tag out. So anyway, so that's all you do. You just, you know, you're just adding more ink on top. Just turning it, put some in the middle. And that's it. And then we get our next color. So let me close this. This is when I always end up getting ink on me. I'm not a big fan of these little things, but that's just me. Okay, and then this is the border blue. And I really love this color. It's just pretty, but I really, and I'm using the same, I just have a blue one, and then I just, what I did this morning is I took a paper towel and just kind of took some of the ink off, but you can't really, you really tell. It's not blend, you know, it's not mixing or anything, so. And that's all I do. I just go around like that. So it kind of gets that marbledy look, you know. And then that's it for that color. So I will put this one up. Okay, so there's those. And then what I do is I have a Tim Holtz. It's his Embrace Imperfection. I love this with the little coffee stains or whatever. But I take this piece, and then I get my coffee archival. Put that up. And then I just get a little ink on it like this. And then I don't have any rhyme or reason how I do it. I just, because if I put too much thought to it and think, oh, I need to do that, then it wouldn't look as good. So I just kind of go through, and mostly I'm trying to do the edges. And then I get that little, because they have little dots on that. And that is pretty much it. Okay, so that's all I do. And it's kind of grungy. And I like that. And then I'm going to just take the ink off of here. And that's it. And that's how I get that look. And then, of course, we have to take our distress ink, and we are gonna just, you know, you're gonna ink the edges, okay? And so that's how you get this look. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do real quick, because I just looked over and realized I did not do it, but I did cut the edges. I mean, I did put the, punch the edges of these. So for a tab binding, you need tabs. So I am doing 7 pieces of, 7 little file folders. Okay, and I'm putting them in order of small, big, small, big. They're all the same size. It's just, how they're laid out. And you need you need tabs, because this, what we're going to do is we are going to attach them like so. And then we're going to attach each, we're going to do one to another, then that one to another. And so if you've never done them, we're about to do tab binding, and you can see how that is done. So, but what I noticed is that I did not ink the edges, and I definitely want those to be inked. So I'm going to do that real quick while I'm talking to you, because I need those to be done. So if you just get your file folders, like I say, if you need 7, then you only need, you can get 2 out of 1 file folder. And so, you only need 3 or 4 file folders. And then you just cut them to be 8 by 11. But if you want it shorter, you could definitely do it shorter. I mean, that's just the size that my kit is. So, I mean, you want to make sure that you make it the size so that those staycations will fit on the paper. And I made them a little bit smaller, because that way I could put a label down at the bottom. Maybe I could write something down at the bottom, just describing, the day, whatever. But And the prompts are, I felt like, you know, things that we do here. And when, you know, there's times that, of course, you know, my husband and I, we do thrifting a lot. And that is like that's like a fun outing for us. We enjoy just going around and thrifting and, you know, just finding new things. And so it'll, you know, it'll take us over to Galveston and, you know, and of course that's where they have the fun coffee shops and, you know, there's the beach over there. And so, you know, you can do a lot of different things in your own city. So, and we do have a downtown, but I'll be honest with you, we don't really walk our own downtown, but there, you know, the downtown in Galveston on the Strand. Now that we do you know, we'll go over there and walk the Strand, and that is their downtown historical district, and we love to go over there. But, you know, they have fun shops, and, you know, they have a place over there where they take apples and they dip them in chocolate and put all kinds of amazing goodies on them. And so we like to go watch them because they have a window where you can look in and see what they're doing and how they do it. And then they also have a place that they make taffy. And so we like to go and they'll throw you know, they'll throw taffy after they make a batch. They'll throw it out so that you can have some samples and stuff. So that's always fun. Okay, so that needed to be done. And then the other thing that I did not do to these is I did not put any little dots or whatever. And so I'm going to just get all of these out and lay them out on this piece of paper real quick. So when you are tab binding, you're going to need, for the first file, you're going to need 3. So you'll start with 3 tabs, and then the next page you'll need 2. Then the next page you'll need 3. So it just goes from 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. So with me, I counted, and so I'm going to need 3 and 2. That's 5. 3 and 2. That's 10. 3, 2, 15. And then 3 more for the back one. So I needed 18 tabs. So I did 18, and the thing that you're going to need to think about is how thick you want them, because you don't want them too thick, because they are going to be on your, you know, on your page, and you can either put them on top of your paper, or you can put them underneath your paper and have your paper on top of them. Which is, I think, because I'm going to show you before we start putting the paper, that's how it's going to work for me, is I'm going to put them on first, and then I'll put my paper on top of them. But you are going to see a portion of it, so which is why I just went ahead and rounded them and did all that. Okay, so those are all done. We don't have to worry about those. And also, when I was cutting my tabs, I used the file folder and what was left of the file folder. So, you know, just use the whole file folder, and, you know, you don't have to get anything special. Now, I did see this technique a while back with Natasha from Treasure Books. And she uses all kinds of things. And so, you know, you can use fabric, you can use, you know, a vinyl, or a, you know, those bags that you get, you know, when you go shopping. But you can use anything you want. And but I'm just going to use file folder. So, okay, so here is what we are going to do. The first thing you do is you're going to do your very first one. So you want to make sure they're all in the order that you want them to be, and mine are. So it's small, big, small, big, small, big, all the way down. So I'm going to take my first folder, and remember it's 8. And so she doesn't, the way I do it, it's just easier for me so that they're all in, you know, the same, is I go ahead and fold them in half so that I know where that middle part is, because that's where I want it to be on my folder. So we're going to do 3. So you're just going to fold in half 3 of your tabs. And then you decide where you want, you know, how far apart or whatever. So the middle of 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this mark is the middle right there. And then you decide how far apart you're going to want them. I think I'm going to do the middle of the second one, kind of like that. So the middle of the second one. And then all you're going to do is glue it down. So we're going to glue it down. So I'm going to go ahead. It doesn't matter which one I start with. So I'm going to do this. You're only gluing one portion of it down. And if you want to use double-sided, you certainly can do that. I find that it's not permanent, which we all know it's not. And then I just put my bent seam right on where I want it to go, and then I just put it down. It's a little bit of glue seeping out. Oop, and then I try to make sure that it is lined up with my page, because you want it to look pretty, because you are going to see all of those. You are going to see every one of these tabs. Okay, so you want to make sure that they are put. I've done some where I'm like, oh, one's over here and one's, and it's like, oh, that's why I fold them in half first. It's just an easier way for me to do the binding. Okay. Sometimes I can think about it too much and I just have to do it. Okay, so there's that. And I'm using my line co just so I can get a little bit of time to put it down. I'm actually looking at the end there too. Okay, so that's the first one. And then what you do is you just turn it over and then you bring your next page in. And I like to line them up on my board here. And then I'm going to put a tab here in the middle and here in the middle. And so we're looking at these two. So that's on a line and that's not. So we are going to put it in the middle of that. So let me bend them. It's not hard at all. This is a fun binding system. And you're not sewing, you're just gluing. But it just has such a really pretty effect. And so, like I say, it's not hard. It's just, you know, if you want things to be aligned, then, and when you do the next one, then you'll go back to that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lay this on top, so I kind of know where they're going to be, and then I'm going to hold it, and I was just showing you kind of, you know, where they were going to go. So you put them like this, and then let's see, make sure that I'm doing that right. Yeah. So let's see, this one's going to go like this. See, you turn that over and then you go, this one goes like this. I just want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly for you. Let me just reference something real quick. Okay, so we're going to put these on in the center of those there. make sure that I get them centered in between. Fairly close. And without moving it. Okay. And then we'll do the next one. If I can hold on to it. And then you're going to put this one down here. I'm just trying to make sure that I get it centered because this one was in between that. It's kind of an odd gap. Okay. So you put that on, and then you turn it over, and then you hold on to it. Now we just put the 2 on, so what we're going to do is we're going to lay it down, and I want it to be tight. So I want to make sure that everything is lined up. And so these 2 are the ones we just did, so we're just going to leave those alone, but we are going to pull these up. And so make sure everything is the way you want it. I want it to be tight, so I'm going to pull so I'm going to pull the 3 that we did at the beginning, because that one we're adhering the second one to the first one. So that was the bottom, and then we'll do this one. And I'm going to I want it to be tight, so I'm pulling a little bit as I glue it down. And then we'll do the next one. Make sure I get out of there. Okay, and then I'm going to pull a little bit. Okay, and then there's that one. So then we're going to move on to the next one. And so what I like to do is kind of butt it up so that I know where my next ones are going to go. So we're going to fold these in half. And then we're going to put them on the 3 again. I'm just looking to see where that... Okay, I'm going to pull it a little because it's not even. Okay, so there's one. And I don't know if you've ever done this, and if you have an easier way to do it, hey, I'm open to suggestions, but this is just how I do it. It just seems easy for me to just match things up. So that I know they're at least in the same ballpark. In the same ballpark. And then that's what you do. You just, you just keep going through all 7 of the folders. And you can bind all kinds of things together like this. You can do signatures, you can do, mostly what I've done is exactly what I'm doing. I just bind individual folders together like this to make a book. This one is a little crooked. It's a little crooked. It's okay. Okay, and then what you do is after you've done that, you flip it over. You line it up, and I'm looking at this right here, and I'm looking at the bottom, and that's what That's what I'm mostly trying to make sure that it's correct, is that. And then once you get it, remember we already did the 3, so now we're going to do the 2. So whatever you just did, you do the opposite. So we just did 3, so we're pulling the 2 over. So I'm going to pull and make sure that's tight. And then I'm going to pull. And so you can kind of see that one over there. I was going to say it's a little crooked, but I fixed it. Okay, and then you do the next one. So pull that in, put it here, butt it up so that I can see. And then we're going to do 2 because we just did 3. So I hope that you kind of see how to do this. It's not hard, it just is, you just have to pay attention a little bit, and then you have it all done. So I'm going to do one more, and then, or this one, and then I'm going to stop and do them all, and then I'll come back and we will close out the video, and I'll show you what it looks like. And then I just pull it because I've got, see, and that's why I do that, because I've done some where, like I said, you know, you've got one out here and one down here. And so I like them to be a little bit cohesive. So, and then you just turn it over and then you line it up the way you want it to go. And we just did 2. So now we're going to do, pull up the 3, the 3 that we did. And I like it tight, so I kind of hold it and pull it and hold it. And then do this one. So see, and you can kind of see how that's going to look. And then the next one will be like this. Then we'll have all of them stacked. And then when we open them, this one will be its own folder, and then this one will be like that. And see how it's leaving just a little bit of a gap? I'm okay with that. I kind of like that look. But that's why you have to really pull it and hold it tight so that you don't get that gap. Because it can be bigger. But I mean, that actually is not that big of a deal to me. Okay, and so then you just turn it back over, and then let me finish these, and then I'll get right back with you. Okay, so I'm done binding. I was going to put another piece on here, but I think I counted and I only have 12, and so I don't really need that extra piece. So you won't need 18 if you do it the way I did it. You'll only need 15. So this is what it looks like. So this is our first folder. So it goes like this. Of course, you're not going to see the tabs because it's, you know, it's a folder. So I have 3, and then you have the 2, which, you know, it's bound to the next one. And then it'll go like that. And then there's the 3, then a folder, and then 2, 3, and then the last one is 2. Oh, I have one more. And then 3. And then you just adhere the other one to the back. So that is what it looks like. I think it's cool and it's pretty. And I love that there's blue and all the other things that are, you know, that are on these file folders. So that is it for today. So go and grab your kit and make your little, you know, tab bound folders. And then next time we get together, I'm going to have all this cut out. We're going to put the pockets on and all of these, de-stress, you know, distress them and, you know, do some fun things to them, and then we'll start putting everything together. So anyway, do that. Go to my Ko-fi shop. Go grab your freebie. And I will see you in the next video. So, but remember, you only know what you know until you know something different. And bye-bye.